This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Global natural gas demand is expected to dip this year and then grow at a slow rate over the following 3 years as Russia's war in Ukraine raises prices and drives concerns about supply disruptions, the International Energy Agency said. In its quarterly gas report, the IEA said global gas demand is expected to decline by 0.5% this year. From 2021 to 2025, it is expected to rise by a total of 140 billion cubic meters (BCM). That compares to demand of nearly 175 BCM last year and is less than half of a 370 BCM rise in the previous 5 years. The fall in demand growth is mostly the result of weaker economic activity and less switching from coal or oil to gas because of high gas prices worldwide, the report said.
Oil prices dropped $6 on Tuesday as concerns about a possible global recession curtailing demand outweighed supply disruption fears, highlighted by an expected production cut in Norway. Brent crude was down $6.65, or 5.9%, at $106.85 a barrel by 13:44 GMT, and U.S. West Texas Intermediate (WTI) crude fell $5.65, or 5.2%, to $102.78 a barrel from Friday's close. There was no WTI settlement on Monday because of a U.S. holiday. Investors are becoming more concerned as the latest surge in gas and fuel prices adds to worries about recession.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
More than 5 million barrels of oil that were part of a historic U.S. emergency oil reserves release aimed at lowering domestic fuel prices were exported to Europe and Asia last month, according to data and sources, even as U.S. gasoline and diesel prices touched record highs. The export of crude and fuel is blunting the impact of the moves by U.S. President Joe Biden designed to lower record pump prices. Biden on Saturday renewed a call for gasoline suppliers to cut their prices, drawing criticism from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. About 1 million barrels per day is being released from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve (SPR) through October. The flow is draining the SPR, which last month fell to the lowest since 1986. U.S. crude futures are above $105 per barrel and gasoline and diesel prices above $5 a gallon in one-fifth of the nation.
A European Union plan to label investments in natural gas and nuclear power plants as climate-friendly faces a final vote on Wednesday when lawmakers decide whether to accept or reject proposals that have divided governments and investors. The vote is the final hurdle in the EU's long-delayed decision on whether to add the two energy sources to its taxonomy, a rulebook determining which investments can be marketed in Europe as sustainable. Designed to guide private capital towards truly green projects, the rules aim to set a European standard for sustainable investment and stamp out greenwashing. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. India's gold imports in June nearly trebled from year-ago levels on correction in prices and as jewelers replenished inventories after robust sales during a key festival, a government source said on Tuesday. The country had imported 49 tons of gold in June, compared with 17 tons a year earlier, the source said on condition of anonymity as he is not authorized to speak to media. In value terms, June imports surged to $2.61 billion from $969 million a year ago, he said, adding that India's gold imports still dropped to 335 tons in the first half of 2022 from 493 tons last year.
Chile's total copper production fell 2.55% in May to reach 478,800 tons, government body Codelco said on Monday. Production from state-owned giant Codelco fell 6.3% on a year-on-year basis to 142,900 tons, while Collahuasi's production dipped 15.4% to a total of 49,000 tons. Copper output from Escondida, which is controlled by Australian mining giant BHP, rose 26% to 106,900 tons, Codelco said.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
India has expanded the excise duty exemption for biofuels to encourage the blending of higher proportions of ethanol and components of vegetable oil with gasoline and diesel, a government order said. India, the world's third biggest oil importer and consumer, has been particularly keen to rein in its oil import bill since the conflict in Ukraine spurred a surge in global crude prices. The tax exemption will be applicable to an ethanol portion of 12% minus 15% blended with gasoline, up from 10% previously. For diesel, the exemption will apply to a 20% portion of alkyl esters of long-chain fatty acids obtained from vegetable oils, the order said.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.